And tonight we're very lucky to have Emilio here from Settlr's Buyers Agent, mate. So welcome.
Thanks for having me, mate.
Yeah,
Got the graveyard shift.
great go to, mate. Well, I've saved. Oh, the other's still here. I've saved the best for last. No.
That's it, man. That's it. You set it up, man.
Yeah. Mate, first and foremost, just give everyone delve into how you became a buyer's agent, sort of how you got into your love of property, where it all first started out, and where you're at today.
Yeah, well, no disrespect to the sales agents, but I could never be a sales agent. But I fell into it, to be honest. I purchased my first property in 2020 with my fiance at the time, my now wife. And then off the back of that, I'm from Sydney originally, so moved up here in 2017, fell in love with Brisbane, bought my first property. Then my wife's family started asking me for help. Oh, it looks like it's pretty good up there. Should we buy up there? Like, yeah, I can help you. I know the area, expert. And slowly fell in love with it and found that I had a bit of a knack for it. So, yeah, definitely fell into it.
Nice. And so, how long have you been with Setlr now?
Feels like a lifetime, but 2 years, coming up on 2 years.
Excellent. You've got a very good mentor over there.
He's like my big brother. He's big ADHD brother. Yeah.
Sorry, try and hold together. Very good, mate. Just for anyone that's out there that's maybe not sure what a buyer's agent role is in the market, did you want to give us a bit of a run through around what that actually entails in utilising one and what you kind of do?
Yeah, definitely. I think, it's funny how people think when they come to selling their home, they don't know values. They're novices. Oh, I'm going to get a sales agent to come in, which you should do. But when you go and buy a property, I'm an expert. I know what it's worth. Don't understand that. So our job is to bring power back to the buyer and to have a level playing field. And I have this analogy that as a buyer, when you go into an open home or you go into a negotiation with a sales agent, they've done that a million times before. So essentially, you're an amateur boxer going up against a pro. You think you're doing well. Before you've even thrown your first punch, you've been knocked out because they've known the right questions to ask. They've sussed you out. They've looked you up. And they know that you don't own any property because they've looked you up on IP data. It's pretty obvious, right? But our job is to make sure that, well, we know values. We know values very well. But not only that, we are getting paid by the buyer. So we have the buyer's best interests at heart.
What are a couple of other things? Obviously, there's the value of knowing what a property's worth, but what are kind of some of the other things that a buyer's agent would help throughout the process?
Well, part-time counsellor. No, look, I think at the end of the day, for us, we're about helping people find what they actually want. Because a lot of them come to us and they tell us all these things and we listen. And then we say to them, by the end of that conversation, one or two things, either, yep, you're on the money. And that might be someone that's gone through a world of pain and been looking for a couple of years. Or someone very fresh and they're telling us all these things and we just have to sit them down and tell them, you're not going to get that. Either your expectations change or we can't help you. Yeah. So I guess aligning them with where they have to be in the market, but also aligning them with their expectations, because this is human nature. Everyone has a 20% higher taste than what their budget can afford. And that's normal. I'm the same. I'm probably 50% above my budget. But in saying that, we're able to bring them back to expectation, to reality. And then that's when we're able to get really good outcomes because we're not lying to them. I'm not, no disrespect to Ray White, I'm not a Ray White agent saying, the place is worth 1.5, got a budget of $1 million. Yeah, come to the auction. Come to the auction. We're not doing that. We'll be telling you straight away, it's not in your price range. Stop wasting your energy. Let's move on.
And another thing that usually we'll see, well, one of the big points that we see is even the negotiation strategy, right? From a buyer's agent perspective, what maybe people walk out of here tonight and utilize a buyer's agent, or maybe they'll go down that route of trying to have a crack themselves and buy their first home. What would kind of be? Do you have any kind of key negotiation strategies that you could maybe share with the people here tonight without giving away too much of your secret sauce?
No, I'm happy to do it. the thing is with negotiation, it takes two to tango. So if you're going in there being a hard ass, you're not going to get it. So it's situational. It's about what the seller wants. What's the motivation? They've got the property. It's a seller's market. So if I go in and I speak to someone like Remy, what's the situation, Remy? Why are they selling? And it's not me prying. It's just me going, okay, why are they, what's the point? Well, what are they doing this for? They want to upgrade. They've got another baby in the way. So-and-so's passed. Whatever it might be. From there, you reverse engineer it. Price is last. If they want a longer settlement, I could give them all the money in the world, but settle in 30 days. They won't take it. So the negotiation goes beyond the price. It is purely based on what conditions can we give them that still suit us, that make them want to sell to us. And there's been many times where we've been 20, 30, 40 grand under because we've asked the right questions. And that's what a good buyer's agent should be able to do, is ask the right questions and probe and find out why they are selling or what is going to buy that property.
Also kind of comes back to like how you're asking those questions, right? So, and I think you kind of hit the nail on the head before, but if you're going into a somewhere hostile, all right, well, why are they selling it? Tell me the price.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't like this. Whatever it might be. Like, obviously you want to try and keep the agent on side, right?
100%. It's a relationships game. So people, and again, this is, the common thing that we come across as buyers agents is, I can do it myself. 100% you can. Good luck. Right? And I'm not saying that as a smart ass. I'm just saying that because the agent doesn't have the relationship with that person for them to give you that amount of information that quickly, because they don't know who you are. They don't know if you're pre-approved. They don't know if you're a time waster. They're typically busy. So, with us, we've got such a good relationship with everyone that we buy for. That's why we only buy in Brisbane. We're not borderless buyers agents. We only buy where we know. And we've got the respect now and as a professional that they will give us more. They will tell us more. And it's a way in how you ask it. Some agents are very transactional and they're busy. Don't keep them on the phone for too long. We can be a bit more direct. Other ones want to have a chat, speak about the weekends, talk about this and that. It's 5 minutes down the line, you haven't even spoken about the property. So we understand personalities and we're able to play to that. Where, like you said, you're asking these questions, you can come off as hostile and a know-it-all. But when we're doing it, it's our job. Yeah. So it comes across quite differently.
And if you had like one particular tip for buyers right now, is there kind of one, like let's say someone's just about to kick off their search, is there one particular tip that you've got for people? If you're a first time buyer all over again, where would kind of Emilio start, do you think?
Definitely getting a pre-approval, starting there, and looking at the sold section of realestate.com, not the for sale. Quick tip, when you're looking on realestate.com, the filters are 750 to a mil, 1 mil to 1.5, 1.5 to 2. So if your budget's 800,000, yeah, that looks good. It's typically, again, 20% above your budget, right? So look in the sold section, because then that's what what it's sold for. That's the real price. That's what bought it. So I'd make myself aware of what things are actually selling for. And then I'd be asking people who are in the game. I would be asking questions to real estate agents. I would be maybe speaking to a buyer's agent. Doesn't mean you have to use them. At least you know what they do. And more people now are beginning to use buyer's agents because they feel like they've got no choice. I say this saying all the time. Everyone needs a buyer's agent. Not everyone wants one. That's the truth. Everyone does need one. So I think speaking to people like conveyancers as well, real estate agents, mortgage brokers, getting a really well-rounded, grasp of the market and what your budget's going to buy you. And then going to open homes, looking at things, being curious, and not relying on someone that bought a property 30 years ago to tell you what's a good buy or not.
That seems to be the sentiment tonight, I think. Yeah. Lots of shots get taken at parents.
My dad's the worst at it. The thing is, my father doesn't even think he thinks all I do is with Simon is go for coffee every day. He goes, you guys do nothing.
Yeah, you guys always get coffee, don't you? Yeah.
Yeah, but that's by the by.
Okay. And so that's really good intel, I think, for anybody out there. Geez, I actually didn't realize that the gaps were that much. And I think I was actually talking to someone about this the other day. It's funny when you might put your budget into realestate.com. So you might be like, okay, I want to look up to $800,000, but then you've got those ones that are popping up. I just didn't realize it was.
Remember, realestate.com is for the seller, not the buyer. Guess who's paying the marketing? Not you, the seller, right? So this is the thing. It's meant to keep you enticed, because you put your budget in your real budget, you will not be happy and you'll stop using realestate.com. I don't think does anyone here actually use domain? Yeah, there you go. So realestate.com. Yeah. I think that's more of a New South Wales, Victoria thing. But yeah, and it gets worse as the budgets go up. And then it goes to 1.5 to 2, 2 to 2.5, and then above 4 it just goes 4+.
Yeah.
So not first time buyer stuff, but yeah.
Yeah. I love, I must admit, also take it with a grain of salt, the mortgage calculators that come down the bottom there, because you sit there and go, oh, okay, this is only $2 grand.
Choice, yeah, they're telling me I can borrow $2 million.
I don't know where they get those figures from, but usually they're wrong. So
yeah, I know. I got my hopes up with that once.
All right, now one of the key questions of the night. Everyone's been seeing $700. Shit, that'd be nice. 700,000 to $1 million. Let's just look at the current market right now. So $700,000. Is there a particular property, suburb, something like that kind of would fit that mold that Emilio would buy right now if he had 700 grand to spend as a first buy?
Something where you can manufacture equity. You said it before. Remy hit the nail on the head. Like, and I'll never forget the date, because I actually bought one from Remy at this. It was last year. It was the 9th of June. That's when things went from 500,000 to 700,000. Prices went. I sold my own property because it happened to mine. I built equity, right? So, it just went crazy. So nothing you can find that's done is below 7 or 7 and below.
And we're talking like units, townhouses.
Yeah. It depends on what you're buying it for. As a buyer's agent, I'm not going to tell you where to live, right? It's where you want to live. But if you're doing it because you're wanting to then upgrade, it's not a forever home. I'm location. I'm a location guy. Location over property. So buying something in an area where there are 50 groups through and there's 15 offers, something you can add value to, and cosmetic stuff. It doesn't need to be crazy, and it's in your own time frame. So something that you can renovate, definitely. And again, where the median house price is more than $1 million different, because the only thing you can buy for 700,000 really now is a unit or townhouse. I don't even know where you can really buy one for that.
Yeah. And so let's flip that. If you had $1 million to spend, what would that kind of look like? Do you think?
Well, again, it comes down to location, but $1 million for me, something in an area where I want to live. So the 3 R's: road, retail, and rail. Obviously not too close to rail, but something where amenities close. Again, it's typically not going to be a forever home. Right? So something that is going to serve long term as a really good investment, whether that's you're renting it out or you're selling it. And the common misconception is that units and townhouses are never going to go as much as houses. I'll tell you now, it's not apples for apples. If you're comparing a house and a unit, compare them in the same suburb. Don't compare them, in different spots in terms of growth. Because if it's 700,000 now for a house, it's, why is that? But yeah, $1 million, good location, close to everything. And again, you can still add value. You don't want to, personally, I don't want to buy something fully done. I want to add my touch to it. And then that's how you can really get some really good equity.
Awesome. How do you see the market right now? As a buyer's agent, maybe slightly different to a real estate agent. How are you seeing it right now in terms of like when you're going to inspections? Are you finding that the negotiation stage is getting crazier and crazier? Like, how do you currently see it?
Yeah, price points are definitely so $1 million. Like Remy said, it is crazy. It is frantic, and everyone's it's FOMO. That's FOMO. 1 million to 1.5 is FOBO, which is fear of better opportunity. Oh, that looks pretty good, but maybe something else might come up, and if it makes sense, buy it. But I think the thing is, everything's around property. Australians love property, and it's the federal election was all around property and first home buyers and whatever. the market is consistently busy, and I don't see it stopping, especially with interest rates dropping. Because people think, well, I'll be able to spend more, but they don't. Yes, you will, but you also have to spend more.
Yep.
Because there's going to be more competition. So there's consistently more competition, and people are cottoning on to what's a good buy because they follow the masses. So yeah, I mean, if at the moment I've got a few budgets under $1 million that I'm working with at different price points, and stock is tight, very tight, because the hardest thing is finding where to then go. Do we buy before we sell? Do we sell before we buy? We need the money from the sale to buy. So people are scared, and a lot of off market. So yeah, definitely, it's pretty hectic. We've never been busier.
And so just last one here, but maybe just can you explain that off market a little bit more for anyone's listening out there? So obviously it's not your normal, oh yeah, cool, I can see it on realestate.com. What does that kind of transaction or process look like from your perspective?
Yeah, it's a good question. Hands up, everyone here that knows or I've heard about off market. Does everyone think it's better than buying on market? It's lumpy. Very lumpy. There's a reason why it's off market. Typically that the owner's a tight ass, doesn't want to pay for marketing, right? Or there's a tenant in there, and the sales agent says, look, mate, you're not going to get the great amount of money, don't invest, just sell it off market. A buyer's agent will probably buy it. We can look past that. Maybe we want a tenant in there. Off markets are a fantastic source of opportunity, but they are not the golden egg. Don't get me wrong, about 60 to 70% of what we buy is off market. However, there are more off markets than ever before because people are scared to invest and go to the market because they know they're going to get offers and they go, shit, we got to sell, right? So people are selling an off market. It's usually conditions over price. But now you're getting greedy people who are wanting price and conditions, and stupid. That means that everyone's house, whoever owns a property, is off market. My house is off market if you're paying the right price. So I'd rather buy on market for buyers. Why? Because there's a motivation. They're prepared. They've gone to the market. They're ready to sell. We put in an offer, we're going to get a response. The amount of offers that we've put on properties for clients and we've gone to, and they're not real sellers, and they've not gotten back to us, whatever, it's ridiculous. So the off-market piece is a funny one. With the disclosure statement, though, it's going to be a lot better. It's going to become, on the 1st of August, it's going to become better for everyone involved, because to sell off-market, you're going to need a disclosure statement still. And that's going to cost money. It's going to cost sellers money. So if someone's going to do a disclosure statement and we ask for that, that means we know that they're real sellers. Because it's going to cost them between $1,000 to $1,500 on searches. If you want to know more, ask Jake and Neelu. But yeah.
And so pretty much what Emilio's talking about there, and kind of what Jake and Neelu were alluding to earlier, is that disclosure statement, which exists, I believe, in some other states at the moment, is it's going to actually have to disclose everything that's going on with the property. So in terms of, if there's
as much of as well,
or
to the best knowledge. But also that's still like, people think, oh, well then what's a buyer's agent for? Again, it's to the best of their knowledge. It's still not going to do flood maps because you've got 5 councils within Brisbane. So every flood map's inconsistent, so they're not going to do it with flooding. But what they are going to do it with is, council approvals and bits and pieces like that. But in saying that, you still want to know and still have clauses in there that make sense. The good thing if you're buying in a body corporate complex, which is good for first home buyers, is the body corporate disclosure search, or the body corporate record search, is going to become a standard condition. So you always hear finance, building a pest. You're going to hear building a pest, finance, and body corporates. So, I mean, that's a really good thing, but you still need to do a lot of due diligence within that.
I think we're good, guys. Round of applause for Gravy.